we are again for another episode of the L-5 podcast. And tonight was a very interesting night. We decided to watch a full-length feature, which was The Weekend.
Give her a chance.
We're already having problems.
I can't really see you, the windows.
Yeah?
Hey girl, do you mind if I sit?
You don't mind.
Hey girl.
Hey.
It looked cute. It looked cute. Prince. The plot seemed interesting enough. So I'll go ahead and start it. My first 17 minutes, I said not much to say. It's a horrible decision to go on a weekend trip with your current girlfriend and your ex-girlfriend. That's nothing but a recipe for disaster. This can only go one way. This humor is as dull as a romaine lettuce salad with no dressing or toppings. Then I said I didn't know that Kim Whitley was in this film, so maybe she could help out in the comedy department. That didn't happen. Boring. The actress who plays Margot, the girlfriend, can't act her way out of a paper bag. And I thought I would get some humor out of the lead actress who's on SNL, Sashir Zamta, I think. But no, that didn't happen. So at 17 minutes, I was giving it a 1 star.
Yeah, so The Weeknd, not to be confused with the artist The Weeknd, who is a pretty good artist, by the way. So this does not connect to the actual artist. My first thing I put was, this is a comedy? I mean, like we say, and Corey says all the time, comedy is subjective. So I do get, there are different levels of comedy. There are different ways that you can be comedic in a movie, a film, a narrative, whatever. I was like, this is not a comedy to me. Just from the first 17, I'm not, and I judge it by, am I laughing? No. If there are comedic elements, yeah, give or take. But like Corey said, they were very dry. So if the director was if there was some pieces that they were going for, it didn't hit to me. Maybe a younger audience. I would love to see who rated this. There were up and down ratings on it, so I don't know who rated it high. I would love to question those people because maybe later it built up and got better. We've had movies where 2.5, maybe even 3, and then it grows to like a 4, 4.5. I don't see this rising. See this hand right here? This is going back down to where I think it's going to stay, which is a 2. Maybe even a 1.5. I know Corey said a 1, but I put third wheel. So, there have been times I've been the third wheel, and it's not a good place to be. I don't like being the third wheel. So when the actor was being in instances of being in the third wheel in the first 17, I was like, this is awkward. And I don't know if awkward equals comedy, which it always doesn't equal that. You can't really say that that's the thing. And then I said, just where are we going with the plot? I was putting in our Discord chat that there were various comedians in there. Tone Bell, who's a good friend of another comedian who I think is very, very funny. I was like, why is he not funny in this? But then I had to separate and take people out of their normal, actor and comedic roles and said, let me just judge it for what it is. So yeah, it was between the 1.5 and the 2. I'm gonna go with 1.5. It wasn't that good. I was not pleased at the first 17.
I wrote, you can be bitter if you're a comedian, but at work you kind of get smacked down about your dark sarcasm, but I thought Sashir was cutting in really hard, and it's hard to work arch. My autocorrect didn't get that word right. It's hard to work, and she's totally getting blindsided by the extra weekend guest. I've totally blindsided. Very unexpected third wheel situation.
Mm-hmm.
Very unexpected. And that just happens in the first like 5 minutes. But it feels like a classic Woody Allen comedy. I put that in our Discord. All of those like Annie Hall type things where he's got a monologue, whether it's a monologue to the camera or to his friend or whatever. He is the comedian, and it's all this unlikely stuff. Which is kind of a Woody Allen movie, because any romance with Woody Allen just seems like totally unlikely anyway. But in that first 17 minutes, I think, it was a little later. She even mentioned Godard and Fellini films, and so it just really felt like self-referential, like they were really doing that on purpose. But it was very much like a Woody Allen movie, oboe and all. In that first sequence, it was all just like this just this unfolding rom-com oboe thing. And I was giving it a 3.5.
What?
I was enjoying it.
Wow.
because I actually identify with being stuck in that third wheel situation for a long time.
I do too.
So I was going along with it. I wanted to see how that played out, and it was just, and to me, after the first night that they were there, when they started meeting with the other bed and breakfast guest, that's just where it seemed like, well, why does he even need to be part of the story? So that's kind of confusing to me about the whole story. So I'm going to probably go back and watch this. But for the record, I think this is the first video where we're documenting L-5 podcast walkout.
You heard it first.
Yeah, it took about 10 minutes after we got back in, and I was like, this is still not working for me. This is still not working. So in the Discord, I was like, this is the moment where I get my keys and I'm heading for the exit.
Yeah. And so, I'll probably
his keys.
Yeah. I had to read that. I was like, oh, because sometimes I won't hold the chat up. I won't look at it, or sometimes I'll accidentally go a couple minutes past the 17 minutes and get stopped. But yeah, we don't have to talk long about it. It sounds like we're not really recommending this movie, but I'll probably watch the rest of it and talk about it later.
Okay.
What else did you like about it, Brian? Because I really tried. I also put this in the chat too. I really tried to find a redeeming quality, and it wasn't the comedy. So I'm just curious.
I think I can say, because I thought Sashir's lines were actually funny, and I liked that she had something to do, because I've watched her in SNL. I've seen everything she's done in SNL, because I watch Saturday Night Live every week, right? And they don't give her anything to do. I don't think she's utilized at all. And so I want to know more about what she can do. And this, and she was doing it in this. I thought that this wasn't really I didn't think it was like a throwaway role. I didn't think that it was. I don't think it was obnoxious. I just think that it just probably just hit the wrong tone, and it just wasn't, what connected with you guys. I don't know.
Well, that's
but something connected with me. But I was kind of rooting for this to be good, because she never gets a whole lot to do in any of the sketches that she's in.
That's interesting that you say that, because just like Jeremy said before, and we've said before in the past, is that it's subjective. And you said she wasn't obnoxious. She was obnoxious to me. She she was annoying, and I felt like her jokes were flat and mean. And I was just like thinking to myself, why do you have an attitude all the time? Like, why are you so mean? Like, what crawled up your butt and died? And I'm just like, I couldn't get with her. I couldn't, and I was like, if this is going to continue on, if she's going to continue on with this shtick, and this is her type of comedy, and this is what she's going to continue to do, I couldn't follow along. I just couldn't.
So there was the movie that we saw also recently, Buffalo. There was a super annoying character.
Yeah.
Obnoxious in the same way, or just obnoxious like
obnoxious
more even cutting?
Because obnoxious differently, because with Buffaloed, I thought she was actually funny at first. And then her comedy just seemed like it was the same repeat. There wasn't really much range to it. So it just got kind of old and stale. It wasn't that it was necessarily not funny. It just was old and stale. With this one, it's kind of like that dark, humor, mean humor, in my opinion, that I just couldn't get with. It's like, eh.
So I got the feeling that she was gonna try to rekindle that friendship or relationship when they got in the car, which is why she gave such a great gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's coming out is and maybe I'm reading too much into it, is the passive aggressiveness. She was just being passive aggressive.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. No, that's the thing.
Yeah. So anyway, I was all into that because I get in trouble for being passive aggressive, and I get blamed for being passive aggressive when I'm not being passive aggressive. I'm being totally aggressive. I'm just not good enough. They think I'm being passive aggressive.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So anyway.
Well,
I was buying it. I was okay for the ride.
I'm curious though, Brian, as a person who I've watched certain SNL skits. I don't watch it as consistently. It seems like you watch it very consistently almost every week. As a person who hasn't watched it as much, do you think that would have taken it away from you if you did not watch her in that SNL role, or that didn't really matter as much?
I don't know. Probably. I was probably more into it because I knew who she was. All right, so we switched gears. So the second thing we started watching tonight was first episode, season 1 of Greenleaf.
I don't preach anymore.
The prodigal daughter returns.
Daddy,
It's good having you back.
promise me you're not here to sow discord in the fields of my peace. Nice to see you too, Mama.
And it's I don't know how many seasons was it 5 seasons that are on Netflix right now?
I think 5, yeah.
And just is 5 the last season, or because it got canceled? So
let's see. I think it was on season 6 right now, but 5.
5 are on the first 5 are on Netflix.
Yeah. I think it's in that weird limbo because of COVID and stuff. As far as the 6th season goes.
Okay. Oh, so it's still airing?
Mm-hmm.
Potentially? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So, Corey, you said your mom watches this. I thought you were dissing it in the chat.
Yeah, so
my mom watched that.
Yeah, my mom is all into OWN Network and all these soap opera shows that are on OWN Network, like the Greenleaf, Have and Have Nots, all these Tyler Perry shows and stuff like that. And I'm like, she came here one weekend and said, "Do you guys get the OWN Network?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "I'm not sure if we have it, but I think we can get it on VOD." So I hooked her up and she started watching it. And Dana and I just happened to walk in there and watch it with her one episode. Not Greenleaf, but one of the other shows. I'm like, what is this trash? This is horrible. Really
But you couldn't
bad.
stop. But you couldn't stop watching it.
Yeah. No, I was watching it, but me and Dana were laughing at the same time. My mom is all into it. And I was like, I can't watch this. So then she said this was one of the other shows she was watching was Greenleaf, but I never actually saw it. So when it was suggested tonight, I immediately was turned off because I was just like, it's probably just like one of them other soap opera shows like my mom watches. I can't get with that. Yeah, so we decided to take a shot at this first episode.
You have to have some self-control when you start watching episode 1 of a soap opera.
Yeah.
Correct.
You'll get hooked. You watch them all.
You can. You can. Anybody want to start the conversation about this one?
Parentheses in you can.
Well, let me start this one.
Okay.
I'll be generous. Okay.
Okay.
So I was ready for a soap opera.
Mm-hmm.
And so in a soap opera, on episode 1 especially, you've got to set it all up. You've got to set up so much, and you don't give it all away. And so because you want to hook an audience. So I kind of look at stuff. I kind of look at stuff more like how you make stuff and how you write stuff. So they set up mysteries. They set up who did what, who was the bad guy, who was the obnoxious one, who is what's going on between all of these different characters, and who's going to be the bad influence, and they set it all up. And I think when you're doing all of that, it's kind of hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of challenging.
Mm-hmm.
There were some characters in it that I thought were really compelling, but there were some characters that I thought were written so bad. Like I think it was the little sister who tried so hard to get her sermon. That's a great character, a great idea for a character, but I don't think her lines were written really well.
Mm-hmm.
It was really sad to watch, not just because of the things that she was having to say in that position. So,
well, okay.
I'm not sure I would watch the rest of the series.
I agree with you. Yeah, I agree.
But it wasn't. I didn't think it was horrible.
It could have been worse, right?
You could do worse. So maybe 2.5, maybe 2.5, 3.
I was waiting for the
if
number,
it's your
Brian.
thing.
That's why I'm laughing.
If it's your thing.
That's that passive aggressive. Say it with your chest.
Exactly.
Did I say the number I had for the weekend?
Yeah, you said 3.5, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you did. You did.
Right.
Because I was shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. Is that some of the characters were written poorly, and to go along with that, I mean, same thing with the uncle. He's shrouded in this mystery of like, what did he do wrong? So the only thing that we could do with his character is have him just stare at people.
Mm-hmm.
Like
That was very good, Corey.
Is that how you write a character that has some type of mystery that's going on? You just put them in scenes and have them just stare at you, like.
Yeah,
you had it down pat, Corey. You might need to be an extra.
And well, okay. Since you brought him up, they gave away the mystery.
Yeah, they gave away the mystery.
They just laid everything out by the end of the episode of, okay, what's his story? It's like, okay, well, he's being accused of some bad stuff, and we know exactly what he's being accused of.
Mm-hmm.
Is there going to be a real mystery? Is the mystery or the twist going to be that he's innocent? You think?
No.
Doesn't seem like it.
Probably not. No, not this drama. No.
Yeah.
But you think that they would just tell you that in the first episode? It's like, okay, maybe they're letting you know that this is just not the thing that's going to be the arching, storyline over this whole entire season. And I get that. But at the same time, I was like, I would have given him a little bit more to do than just sit there and just stare at you like that.
Yeah.
He's
being set up to be the bad guy, and there's zero redeeming qualities from him at all.
Exactly.
You know, there's nothing.
Exactly.
So there's no
Yes.
shock. There's no nothing in there. So it's like,
Yes.
okay, why is anybody keeping him around if that's the case?
Yes.
And if everybody knows it, why is he being protected so much? So yeah,
Yes.
it's just weird.
Yes. I was really happy though at first because of the cast. Like Lynn Whitfield is phenomenal. I was happy to see Keith David again, Oprah Winfrey, and I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
this might be really good. But what really bothered me from a production standpoint is that it very much looked like it was a stage play. It very much looked like it was a Tyler Perry set type of thing, where it was just these 3 sets that were very minimal, right? And the shooting of it and the staging of a lot of the different sets just took me out of it a little bit. It just made me feel like I wasn't in a real place, even though I knew I was in a real, in certain situations I was in a real place. So I didn't actually like the production value that was there, design that was there.
Let me ask you this. My daughter came in and said, is that really old?
it could have been from the
It looked
camera
like-
stuff that they used.
Yeah, she's like,
yeah.
it looks grainy on this TV and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I can't tell. I mean, I couldn't really tell. And so to her, she's 16, it looked like it was really old. And I'm like, I don't think it's old at all. And she's like, well, is it set like in olden days? Like, no.
Yeah, I don't know why they start series or movies. I mean, Get Out did it with them riding in the car down the road in this journey that you're going nowhere. It takes you, I mean, you have things happen, but it just doesn't do anything. Back to Corey's point of, you have maybe, okay, the church, the home, and you have a road, but that doesn't, there's no significance. Kind of, but not really.
Yeah. Well, how old do you think her daughter was? 12, 14?
I was going to say
maybe
13, 14, maybe.
Yeah.
What happened that she stayed away from her rich family for 12 years and her daughter's never met her grandparents?
Yeah.
What? How is that possible? How is that believable?
Is that part of the mystery? Is that part of the story of what's going to happen? Like, was that going to unfold?
Or is she like a stepdaughter? I mean, and she hasn't been. I don't know. They didn't explain that, but it's just weird. It's like, what happened that she just left, and she was so easily moved at the end of the episode to stay.
Well, something must have really bad happened because, her mom was treating her horribly too. Oh, I hope you don't bring any kind of anger into this family. I don't need that right now. And then she's like, I'm only going to be here 3 days. Oh, well, good. I mean, you just saw your daughter. You haven't, and
Yeah.
How long has it been since you talked to her?
Mean, like she was lit. I'll say this. I didn't mean to cut you off, Corey, but I'll say Lynn scared me at times. Like her kind of. I mean, I know that there was like some kind of fake mad, but like when Lynn is mad, her character made me like, yo, I'm not talking to her at the dinner table. I'm not. So it was. I know that we talked about some of the other actors, but I would say in contrast, her anger and frustration was like I was like, why are you so mad? But that made me believe that she really was legit mad. So
yeah.
And I felt like Keith David's performance was kind of played down a little bit. It wasn't as up as I'm used to him. I don't want to say aggressive, but just like powerful, and some of the things that he was saying, some of the lines that he was delivering, I didn't really believe it in certain situations. So I mean, and then there was just like the stereotypical. Here's one of the characters who's cheating on his wife in the back of the church, and I'm like,
soap opera,
very
soap opera,
very soap opera. But it was just done kind of cheap and poor.
Yeah, no, that's the issue. It is that's the main issue I had with it. Is it was so cheap. It was the Family Dollar version of what I wanted. I hope y'all ain't listening, but it was very cheap, and I was like, you had a plot. if I had to outline the plot of this episode and I could make it more quality, I would change things around and stop just in like Corey was saying earlier, inserting these sort of tropes of Tyler Perry, just sort of, Black family drama, church, thematic themes that really stand out to our culture, but you copy paste those things. Even us, even Black people sitting here like, and I know that's weird to say, but I'm just like, I've seen this before. I've seen the Tyler. I've sat in the theater or seen these plays or seen these TV shows, and I've seen it done well. And I don't think this is. I think this is so copy paste that it doesn't do it well because it doesn't push anything forward. Your first TV series episode should captivate me to like
absolutely.
Dude,
It's like Brian said.
Next episode bar, I can't wait to hit. Okay.
Yeah. And so I think what I'm hearing is that it's really disappointing that you get this caliber of cast, this caliber of budget from this network, and it's phoned in. They're just going through the motions. Like, okay, we checked off all of these things, but we're not gonna put the money in the script, and we're not gonna put the money in, camera work or just better performances. Yeah. It's like we spent maybe we spent so much on some actors that we didn't get to spread that out more evenly, and so you've got these really great actors, and then you got some other folks that just it's like, oops.
And it's really, I'd really like to know the facts behind this as to like when this was launched. Was this a show launch for this network? Was this the big money draw to get people to come in to watch, to tune into this network when it was first launched? And if it was, I'd like to know what the reception was when it first, got off the ground. Because apparently it's 5 seasons in, it's gotten better, I would think. The audience is there. But I'd love to see what the reaction was of this first episode when it first debuted, I think in 2016 or something like that. Because to me, that's not a good first outing. I mean, it's okay. It's not horrible. But not enough to make me go back and continue watching it, to be honest with you. Maybe,
all right.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll watch one more episode, because Dana always says that. She's like, anytime she starts a new show, she's like, I at least got to give it 2 episodes.
2 episodes, because the pilot's done so far ahead sometimes.
Yeah.
And then the second episode might be something different. So that's fair. It might be interesting to go and watch season 2, episode 1.
Oh.
That would be interesting.
I was going to say that I can see people who like basic, simplistic drama, not many character development in their own way, but not much plot. Just, I want drama. I want the sexy, throw some Grey's Anatomy kind of type stuff in there. Like all that, like elements of a drama, but in terms of content and in terms of like actors being able to, and judging, actors in their full element. I don't see it. And that's why I respect our opinions. And I hate to say this, a little bit more than those who just watch dramas only. And I'm not saying that those individuals, that might be exactly what they like. But from what I saw, that this would not be I'm going to keep on network. I got to keep cable on just to keep, Greenleaf on. I don't think I'll ever say that. Now, ever in my existence. But I will say I do want to watch a couple more episodes just to see where it goes. They did set up like the Powerball thing and somebody donate money. Okay, that's a Black church trope. People donate. The money in the Black church can be its own little separate document.
Absolutely.
Just being honest here, right? Yeah. So I'm interested in certain things, and that's why I will continue to watch it. But I do see why friends recommended it if they just like dramas, because it did have that element, but I'm not sure it captivated my full attention. So well, I totally love all those drama shows. I
when I was a kid, I watched I would come home after school and watch General Hospital, and I love Grey's Anatomy and ER, and there was a series on ABC that this actually reminded me of, Revenge, and in that it was just like seeping evilness and like just Dynasty 2.0. Everybody was just so evil and manipulative and over the top, and so I was kind of hoping this would have that real sting to it. So it'll be interesting to see if it goes there. There are a couple of characters that could potentially have some bite like that.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
When I was growing up, I watched General Hospital 2 against my own will, along with all my children and Days of Our Lives. But that's because my great aunt would like slap our hand if we ever tried to turn the channel, because she'd stay glued to it all day long. But so I'm used to that, over the top drama and stuff like that too. And so I was expecting that as well. And if they had done that and gone there, then maybe I would have held on, and maybe they will. Maybe they'll eventually get there, but who knows? But Jeremy, you were saying, the money at the church really could be a drama in its own self and a plot in its own self. Absolutely. But what was weird to me was that came out, and his daughter acted like it was the worst thing she had ever heard in her entire life. But it was that stare. And it's like that's all you can do to emote and to give us the reaction of how you're feeling.
Well, what's weird is that it seemed like something was missing to me. Like maybe I missed something, but she was suspicious of him about taking advantage of little girls, and then there was a scene that she wasn't in about the church being investigated for their finances being tax fraud,
right?
That she wasn't there to hear,
right?
And then they made this announcement. I don't know. It seemed like a weird announcement, about that donation in the service, and that's when she went and did that stare, and made this weird connection that just like, what is this connection?
Well, see, here's the weird part. Is like, I wonder if it was because she did this weird stare because of who that communication came from, that it came from her uncle to her dad. So was she staring at her uncle because she's like, I hate you because the other thing that you did?
Right.
And now you told my dad this? Or was she staring at her dad because now her dad is doing something bad? Like, I didn't get that. It was weird disconnect.
I mean, because I was like, well, why would they pay the church blackmail for? I mean, was it blackmail?
Yeah, was it blackmail
to keep the hush money? Or that didn't make any sense. Because the conversations she had with Oprah about this, because they were the only two that knew that he was guilty of anything. It's like, you're probably not the only two that know.
So now it's the inside job. So, Auntie Oprah, can you the Federal Bureau of blank?
Yeah. So about Oprah.
Yeah.
I like Oprah. Because she was on right after General Hospital. But this character, I guess her sister thinks she's evil because she runs a bar, but she's like your best friend. And so it's like she's literally being Oprah. Right? Am I missing something? I mean, so it's like, where's the fun in that?
Well, here's the
I want Oprah to be naughty or something.
Well, here's the problem. After The Color Purple, Oprah has only played Oprah in any movie that she's ever been in. She was in that Disney movie, what was the one?
Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah, A Wrinkle in Time. She was Oprah.
Giant Oprah. Giant Oprah.
Yeah, in any of the other TV shows or movies that she's been that sweet Oprah. That you can come to me and I'll help you and blah, blah. I'm Oprah. I'd be surprised if her character only had one name. Like, she didn't have a last name.
Right. With that one wig, with that orange blazer.
Yeah. So no, she's not gonna get. I don't think Oprah's gonna get into the scandalous, evil.
And she's drinking soda water.
Yeah, she's
Boring. I want drunk Oprah.
Right.
Yeah.
I want tequila.
Let's have Oprah doing shots at her bar. Come on.
That's not gonna happen. And of course, this is her show, right? This is her production, so she's not gonna paint herself into a bad place like that. So, but I would have been nice.
But it did. Speaking of that, Corey, it did feel like an Oprah. Like, I don't know if there's a Oprah show on stereotype. Like, I know she has. I'm just spitting off shows. I know she has Ayanna Fix My Life, The Have and Have Nots, Ambitions, which I have a couple friends who acted in that, and they just seem template, like just template. OWN has a, like we said earlier, not to steer away from that, but it has a style. And I knew even about 1 or 2 minutes into when we hit play, I was like, this is it. Yep. I still haven't been able to identify exactly what it is, but I feel it as soon as I hit play. And I'm like, what is it, man? And I maybe I'll like investigate it further later. But I mean, all these shows have the same thing. And I feel the same thing in the first 17 minutes of each and every one of them.
For me, it's a production. For me, it's the production value. When I see it, I see stage play or I see backlot TV show. And so when I see that look, I immediately get wrapped into that. That's the theme, and that's what else is going to come behind that. And it doesn't come out good. In my opinion, it just doesn't. But like, did you even notice when they were driving from the front gate to the house, she said, how far away is the house from here? He said, about a mile or so. And they're in the car, and A, it seemed like a long-ass drive. And B, it was so green screen, it wasn't even funny. He's driving and not paying attention to the road and talking to her, and the trees that are going by is like loop, and then you can see it. It just looks. Oh. It looks like a bad key to me. I was just like, nah, this is not. He's not even turning the steering wheel at all. You got a straight pathway from the gate to the front house. I highly doubt that.
This character frustrated me too, talking about we gonna wait for this. Now she under them covers now.
Right.
I don't care what I mean, you can be strong all you want to. I know this is a Christian base. Man, God don't like ugly. You about to get down. And I was like, his character was interesting because typically in these type of shows, they play a role later on. Now, he could have a significant role later on. I'm not saying I've never watched it, but I wonder what his role could be other than, I'm dating another. Like, he could have a significant role. And I'm thinking in many ways you can input him into a plot, but it was just like, okay, he's a security guard, but I'm just thinking of ways he could be very influential later on.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, he's just one of those characters that they were absolutely setting up. They definitely had some kind of past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I would say I'm right at, like Brian said, I think probably about 2.5. Probably about 2.5. Could be worse. I give it the half point because I think I'm going to go and watch the second episode just to give it a chance. Just to give it another chance.
Yeah.
But I'm not hopeful.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I have to retweet that 2.5. I can't go 3 because I think that's giving it a little bit more credit than I just broke it down in about 15 minutes. So to me to say 3+ would really counter some of that. So I'm going to go with 2.5.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it feels like that's another episode of the L-5 podcast.
Yep.
Yes.
We will see you guys next time.